This is to do two things. Firstly, I want to explain who all and how is communicating with an yet, as of yet, not really known public, semi-public though, in order to connect and to replace. Thereupon, I ground here my pledge for asylum. Yeah, one has to have reasons. Either it is political or it's fear for life, and I want to ground both. So, I'm here on Facebook. Then I tap, where do I tap? I think it's settings, right on top. Then I arrive at this page, scroll down, find activity log, quite down. And here we have a recycle bin. So what if a couple of people shared one Facebook account and would leave each other messages right there? For example, those messages as if which they would record from but this flat. If it was the case that this flat is completely wired, likely. Why? Because Germany wanted to distinguish itself to thwart of a new grouping of Islamists, which would be learned, which would be female, not necessarily German as I, which would have led already into the system of knowledge and resources easily accessible for many, meaning material that is already worked upon, texts that are already ready, and not texts from over the channel Oxford University, which are too bulky and too difficult to digest and to understand even by police officers one start. So. Those, for example, that have now a name in the football world, earn their money, contribute to the prostitutional circles of theirs. If it was only there about, because it would include all ages, reaching down to toddlers. In order to get people out of matters and messes, take others in, and making things normal before bombs spring up here. Why? Because they have dark chambers. They have dark chambers, which is really the song texts about, and upon certain experiences, which would scribble it down or get reported otherwise, and then thereupon would need a redo, a upheaval of real facts, and put it into the arts world where nothing is secure, nothing is true, and nothing is untrue. So imagine you were lying in such a dark chamber and were promised that the person chosen on one of their websites was coming soon, having the right perfume on and wearing the right material as a gown. Then you can imagine that else creatures can be let in. And indeed, I mean what I say. Because the really people that have power in the future are those with dogs who can eat loads in a short period of time, and snakes who can either poison or make completely vanish people to the never having existed at all on Earth. I was informed though, when I was in Gelsenkirchen doing a Vorstellungsgespräch that soon the county government of North Rhine-Westphalia, known to Great Britain since more than 70 years, is doing a huge building complex and thereby establishing a new authority. And who else would be more apt than a person already stemming from there, or a person likely being able to switch over, because not yet a distinctive Bavarian dialect is detectable, which would be the Manuel Neuer case. And now it gets even more oddly. Why would I assume that? Because during the 4 years homelessness care stay home time, the person that can change his limbs and legs even appearing wise, one day there's no hair at all, the other day it's all over. Likewise with arms. One day it is slim and musculous, and the other day it appears fleshy somehow, fleischig. So I would recognize one arm, and I think this is how a person thought he was meant. So they would use a trace one or two Facebook accounts and leave messages in inverted commas, would leave in the trash, and there it could be outpulled, and used in every other context. Does it make sense? Maybe yes, if I refer to Tim Kleinschmidt, no Kleindienst. I always say Kleinschmidt as for a reason. So a Tim Kleinschmidt the other day on Sportshow would coin the coin, indeed coin, if we were on academic grounds, would coin the word trash talk, and I would smile into the TV. This has worked once in a while, that if I smile into the TV, then a person gets a chance. Also odd, but they are doing here, they are really capable of lots of things here in the GDR. So it's about signal capturing, and it's about propping a TV with material that indeed can look through. It is doable on computers, why not on TV screens? So I would kind of approve. And then later, during that very same talk show, no sports show, he being interviewed, he would add, thankfully though, because it would support my assumption merely that indeed there are words connected with meaning, else than the meaning one would have expected. So he would ask, ja, was heißt das denn? Was heißt das denn? So, I already assumed and could indicate in one of my texts that there is a connection between the food and the meaning, and this is only known to few people. To me, nothing was made known, but it should have been, in order to be able to move myself here into this area around, which I'm no longer capable of. Since 20 years no one talks. Since 20 years I see my chances vanishing to the non-existent. Since 20 years I'm just spending into paying as if into the system, seeing my texts being landed elsewhere, and be it in song texts, on TV, in news shows, just keyword wise, and so on. And if one now thinks how I want to ground on that frustration as if a mere frustration, a hopping over into your very country, then if one thinks further, the very source, the Arabs indeed would do a building complex they would call Masdar. They would indeed call Masdar after 2006. So also they have understood a thing or two. Which means source. If one thinks further, no one wants to have to do anything with a person that was just dropped over 20 years. This is unsexy, no one wants that. So maybe you are so willing to secure for yourself the latest which has sprung up, namely the idea, hey, yeah, this one indeed could have a huge Anspruchsvermögen, groundable or manifold. Recently, the fact that I indeed ought, since longer, have been offered something by the German state, if by the county in which I'm living in, or if by the Bundesregierung itself, represented by BKA, BND, albeit not those too much likely, but by ministries of justice and by ministries of the inner. Nothing. I don't get here anything. So this failure, one must say, which is basic enough for a Verfassungsbeschwerde, but I don't have time, I'm 51. This is already connected to futurist money. This is connected to futurist money and the fact that Anspruchsvermögen is being built up since I'm living on this very earth and in this very nice country. Then you can imagine that it is huge. It is indeed huge, and this constitutes indeed a kind of a danger, because they simply want to let me vanish. Objectively, they would want to do that at one point or the other in the not too distant future, meaning not after another 20 years, but before. And this complex would constitute a danger for life endangerment, and yeah, it's political. It's clear. You can only see the reels and overfly the text adjacent. Is just yeah. So it is clear. It is not too difficult to argue any longer on the fact whether it was political or not. A couple of months though, that was different. One would have had more difficulties in arguing that. But after those reels, not any longer. So ministries of justice, ministries of the inner. I taught even statutory prosecutors whether they take this teaching or not and apply it or not. Yeah, this is unacceptable to not having offered me at all anything. Just seeing myself running into a larger growing tax problem, because of course I had to seek possibilities in order to earn me more than 1,000 existence minimum since 2010. A prior no.